Hi, good morning. We're so glad to have you back with us. Today we're going to be learning more about David, and I'm really excited about this lesson. So, the songs that we're going to sing this morning are all going to be about the fruits of the Spirit, because these are just things that David possessed that we also need to possess so that we have a heart that longs for God. So we're going to sing some songs about love and joy, and we're even going to go over our fruits of the Spirit. Now, I'm not going to go over your memory verse with you because this week the memory verse actually goes with last week's. It's the same memory verse because the lessons are really similar, and we really want you to focus on being kind to one another and compassionate. And so I'm gonna let Miss Kelly do that. All right, let's start off this morning with, I'm hoping y'all know the song Jesus Love is Bubbling Over, because we need to have a great love for Jesus, but Jesus has a great love for us. So let's sing. Are you ready? Jesus' love is a bubbling over. Jesus' love is a bubbling over. Jesus' love is a bubbling over. Hallelujah. Love is a bubbling over. Love is a bubbling over. Love is a bubbling over. Hallelujah. Bubbling over. Bubbling over. Bubbling over. Hallelujah. Over. 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 Hallelujah. Woo. 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 Hallelujah. Jesus' love is a bubbling over. Jesus' love is a bubbling over. Jesus' love is a bubbling over. Hallelujah. Good job. I almost forgot the words there. They're a little tricky because you gotta take them out. So I'm so proud of y'all. You know, David had a great love for God, and I hope that you have a great love for God because he loves us. And that's what's so important about that song. All right. God's love is really, really deep and wide. So let's sing the song Deep and Wide. Are you ready? Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. And wide, and wide, there's a fountain flowing and wide. And wide, and wide, there's a fountain flowing and wide. And there's a fountain flowing and You getting it? And there's a fountain flowing and Good job! So that's talking about deep and wide and the fact that we have this fountain of life that flows from Jesus because he loves us so, so much. All right, let's do the I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up in Jesus. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up in God. Oh yeah, I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up in Jesus. I'm all wrapped up, tied up, tangled up in God. Oh yeah. All right. Now let's do, I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart, down in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Where? down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart, down in my heart, and I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. All right, let's go over the chorus of our Fruits of the Spirit song, and then we're going to head over to Miss Kelly. You ready? Remember, the song talks about how fruit of the Spirit's not, and we go through all the different fruits, but then the chorus says, because the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. All right, one more time. Ready? Because the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Y'all are getting so good at those. All right. Y'all go enjoy Miss Kelly's lesson, and I'll see you next week.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great week. We are back today, still talking about David, but we have moved from 1 Samuel to 2 Samuel, the 10th book of the Old Testament. So we are going to say those books in order because now we've added a new book. Here we go. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. That's where our story comes from today. 2 Samuel in chapter 9. But before we get there, I want to just kind of flash back a few little details that we want to remember. Do you remember when David was younger and he came to the palace to play the harp for King Saul? Do you remember how we talked about how Saul was distressed and he couldn't sleep? And so they sent for David to come, and he was very young, and he played the harp for Saul, and it soothed him and it helped him sleep. Okay, well, during that time, David became friends with King Saul's son. Now, we haven't talked much about him, but he's very important. And his name was Jonathan. Say his name with me. Jonathan. What was King Saul's son's name? Jonathan. And he and David were very close friends. And even one time when David was scared that Saul was going to kill him, Jonathan helped protect David from Saul. They were very good friends. And so when they grew up, Jonathan had a son named, this is a crazy name, his name is Mephibosheth. Say his name with me. Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth. Say it with me. Mephibosheth. He was Jonathan's son. Okay, now when Mephibosheth was 5 years old, Jonathan and Saul were killed in battle. How were they killed? In battle. Well, Mephibosheth was just a boy, and he had a nurse that was taking care of him. And she got so fearful that he might be killed too from Saul's enemies that she decided to hide him. Well, she picked him up and she was going to hide him away, and she dropped him. And she hurt both of his legs accidentally. Both of his legs were hurt, and he could never walk very well again for the rest of his life. Well, time went on, and Mephibosheth was just kind of left alone a lot of the time, and he was hungry, and he was sad, and he was lonely. Because they were so fearful of Saul's enemies. Well, David became king, and he remembered what a good friend Jonathan had been to him. And he remembered that Jonathan had a son named Mephibosheth. Say his name with me, Mephibosheth. And so he sent for Mephibosheth to come to the palace. So Mephibosheth came, and he said, "Your father was such a good friend to me that I am going to take care of you, and you will not be hungry the rest of your life." And so from that moment on, for the rest of Mephibosheth's life, King David took care of him, and he ate at the king's table with the king's sons, and he was never hungry again. Now, why did David take care of Mephibosheth? He didn't have to take care of him. Because Jonathan had been such a good friend to David that he wanted to honor him by taking care of his son. Now, this is important because our memory verse from last week is still going to be our memory verse for this week. And it says, "Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you." Now, had Saul been very kind to David? No, he had not. He tried to kill him. Had Jonathan been kind to David? He had. He had been a good friend to him. So even though Mephibosheth was Saul's grandson, because Jonathan had been such a good friend to David, and because David had such a pure heart, he wanted to take care of this person who really needed some help. Now, we know that even though Saul was an enemy of David, David had such a good heart and he listened to God that he did what God expected him to do, especially in this moment. Now, we talked about last week how sometimes people are just not going to treat us very well. They're not going to want to be our friend. They're not going to be kind to us. But we need to be kind, compassionate, and forgiving to everyone, even if they are our enemies. And that's what David did. David was kind to Saul, and David was kind and compassionate to Mephibosheth, even though Saul was his grandfather and ultimately an enemy of David. Now, I want to review that memory verse one more time, and I really want you to think about how we need to treat people and how God expects us to treat people, even if they don't like us very much. Okay, here we go. Ephesians 4:32. Say that with me. Ephesians 4:32. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. What a great little story that's tucked away in 2 Samuel about how David treated someone who had some family members that were just not his friends. But David knew how God wanted him to treat other people, and he did that. I hope you have a great week. I hope we get to see each other very soon, and we love you.
I hope you enjoyed Miss Kelly's lesson. And I'm really sorry to say that Miss Lisa Tell is still sick. So I want to challenge you this week to do 5 things and then 5 more things. So 10 things this week, okay? The first 5 things that I want to challenge you are I want you to take last week's lesson and last week's craft, and I want you to think about people that you can be kind to, like this week's lesson. And I want you to write 5 cards. It can be family members, it can be friends, it can be your preacher, it can be teachers that you miss. I want you to write 5 cards this week, okay? And we got 5 more things. I want you to do 5 acts of service. What are 5 ways this week that you can serve someone that you do know, your mom and dad, or even a stranger, okay? I want you to do 5 acts of service this week so that we can have a heart that just loves and serves for God. All right, I will miss all of you, and I'm really hoping Miss Intel will be well and able to do videos for y'all next week.